Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 362. In this episode, you are going to hear from Karen Cleveland. Karen is a mindset and connection coach, and she really believes in the power of mind, body, and spirit. And she thinks, or she says, all of those things are related and they help with God, the universe. We get answers from all of those places. So today, you're going to hear 3 reasons why Karen Cleveland is so badass. As you listen to the last episode and even this one, I hope the connection piece that Karen talks about really resonates with you. After all, it's February, nearing Valentine's Day. That time is getting closer and closer, but that's all about love and connection. And it doesn't have to be with a significant other. There are many ways to have connections, just friendships, right? You could have a friendship connection. You can have a connection with the universe. You can have a connection with animals. And Karen talks about that. And so, really, February, it's a time to like embrace who you are and just really focus on connection and loving yourself. So, if this episode finds you value, which I know it will, then head on over to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating and review. That way, other badasses just like you can find the show. Okay, let's get to it.
Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm so glad you're here. Today, you're going to hear 3 reasons why Karen Cleveland is so badass. So, Karen, she's badass for being willing to take risks. Number 2, when she wasn't happy, she made a change. And the 3rd reason is she turned struggles into success. Let's talk about Karen being willing to take risks. Karen was adventurous. She was brave and bold. She decided to take a safari to Kenya. And then she actually married a man that she met in Kenya. And Karen said she just kept having this gut feeling like, I need to go to Kenya. And part of it is that she had been doing communication with animals. And so Kenya is a perfect place to communicate with animals. But she goes, it wasn't just about that. I just wanted to put my feet on the ground to feel the dirt. And so she listened to this inner calling. She took a risk. She could have talked herself out of it. She could have said, man, this is crazy. I can't go to Kenya. I don't know anybody there. And she took that risk. And you know what that risk led to? That led to her now taking other people on adventures to go to Kenya. She takes people on trips so that they can enjoy the things she did. Only it doesn't have to be as nerve-wracking for them because she will plan the event or she will plan the trip. So this seemingly small decision that kept nudging at her inside, saying, go to Kenya. She chose to follow that. She took a risk and chose to follow that decision or that nudge. And that led her to finding the love of her life. If she hadn't have stepped out of her comfort zone, then she wouldn't have found the love of her life, right? And even that, she said, it was hard because there was no communication or not regular communication. Things in Kenya aren't the same as they are in the United States. And so sometimes they wouldn't be able to talk for weeks on end or months on end. Or they would be in the middle of a conversation and then the line would just drop, the connection would drop. So then she's like, oh, am I crazy here? And, it kind of makes your mind wander. Like, is this on purpose? But it's just not the same there as it is here. And so she took a risk and got married to him. And she said 6 years later, they are incredibly happy. That had she not followed her gut, had she not followed her intuition, that could have never happened. What is your intuition telling you to do? Are you listening to it? or are you stuffing it down? Start paying attention to these little nudges you get and figure out if there's a way. If there's a way that you can make it happen. I was going to say if it's reasonable. You know what? Usually our nudges are pushing our comfort zone a little bit, making us feel uncomfortable. So we could easily say, no, that's not reasonable, can't do it. So ignore the reasonable comment. It's like, how could I make it happen? Get curious about it. Ask questions how it could be possible instead of immediately like just shoving everything down, being like, no, I couldn't do that. That would be too hard. That would be scary. That would be so much full of so much uncertainty, right? It's so easy to get all these doubts in our head and to build up all the reasons why we can't do something. But you're getting that nudge for a reason. Maybe Karen's reason was so that she can find the love of her life. But also she still goes back because she just loves it there. So listen to those nudges you're getting, listen to your intuition. They are trying to help you navigate. But the problem is we just don't listen to them, or we're not listening to them enough. Because eventually, if we keep ignoring those nudges, they're going to stop coming to us. We're not going to hear them anymore because we've said no so many times. So connect with yourself, connect with your intuition, listen to those nudges. Okay, moving on to number 2. Okay, the second reason why Karen is so badass is because she wasn't happy. And so she made a change. Karen wasn't happy in her job and she's like, I can't do that anymore. So she made an unconventional move, which I love, by the way. She made an unconventional move, which is she switched. She started exploring all these alternative avenues. And so she looked into film, she looked into screenwriting, animal communication, right? She's a reverend. She's done so many things, but she's like, okay, I'm going to explore. What I know is I am not happy over here. So I'm going to start looking over here at all these different areas and just testing it out, just trying to determine what is right for me, what would make me happy. So often we get in these jobs and we think that, okay, I'm not happy, but I just got to stay here. I've just got to, keep doing this. I started it. Change is so scary. Sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't, right? It feels that way anyway. And so making a change can be so hard. And it can sometimes just make you feel like you're stuck in quicksand because there's so much unknown out there. And so it's like, what are you going to do? What's going to happen? What if this happens? What if that happens? And we think of all of the bad possible things that could happen. And usually none of those things happen. The fact that Karen made a change, that she said, okay, I'm not willing to stay in this job I'm unhappy with, it shows her resilience. It shows her adaptability and her commitment to follow what's inside. I feel like I have a crazy hair here. But it really shows her commitment. It shows what a badass she is. She's not going to just stay in something because it's what is status quo or what other people think she's going to do. It's like, no, she went out and explored. Are you exploring? Are you looking to other places in your life? It doesn't have to be with career, but maybe something feels stagnant. And so maybe you're like, how can I do this differently? And just being curious about it and being open to change. If change doesn't feel comfortable, welcome to being human. It never feels comfortable. But here's the thing. It's like, say you're like Karen and you don't like the job you're in. It's so easy to be like, well, I don't know what I want to do. I'm out. I don't know. And just leave it there instead of being curious about it. What if I tried this or this or this? Karen could have tried one thing and said, oh, that's not for me. I'm done. But she didn't. She persevered on. She continued to try new things. It's like sometimes we just have to dabble around in different things and see what sparks joy, see what makes us happy, where you can have a little bit of fun, or where it's something like you feel like, oh, I could do this all day long. I could do this all the time. You can. It reminds me of this story, and I'm gonna probably butcher the story, but I heard it years ago and it really hit me. It really stuck with me because I felt like it was me. It's like one time a man went walking by a house and he saw an old hound dog, and the dog just kept howling and howling. And he's like, huh, wonder what's up there. He didn't see, like, it didn't look like the dog was getting hurt, but it kept howling. And then the next day, walked past the same house and sees the same hound dog howling. And then finally, he sees the owner. On another day, he sees the owner and he's like, hey, what's going on with your hound dog? He's always howling. And he goes, oh, yeah, he's sitting on a tack, but he's not uncomfortable enough to get up. How much or how often is that our lives? So often we are sitting on a tack, we are uncomfortable, we are not happy, but we're willing to complain and moan and groan about it instead of getting up and making the change. Do you want to be like the hound dog and be stuck in the same place and just be upset about it? Or do you want to be like Karen Cleveland and make a change, start getting curious, do different things, explore what makes you happy? Okay, moving on to number three. The third reason why Karen Cleveland is so badass is because she turned her struggles into a success. Now, Karen, she struggled with feeling unworthy. She struggled with money related issues. And so finally, she got sick and tired of it. She wanted to do things. She wanted to go to Kenya, but she didn't have enough money. Or that was the story that she was telling herself. So Karen finally said, nope, no more. Not going to do this. I have to make a change. Can you relate to that feeling? I know I can. I'm one of those people that has to like bash my head against the wall and get so frustrated with something. And once I'm finally so stinking frustrated, then and only then will I make a change. So, Karen, she was like, okay, I'm not going to struggle with these things anymore. And she started doing things differently, which takes courage, right? Because we already talked about that's scary. So she started practicing affirmations and saying, like, okay, money comes easy to me. So she said gratitude and affirmations. Those are two huge things that helped her. She recognized what it is she has in her life right now. She recognized the money that's coming her way. And she said, after like 3 months of affirmations, telling herself that money comes easy to her, things started to shift and change, and she could feel a difference. Karen said that she had parents that came from the Depression era. And so it was easy to fall into that mindset like, money is hard, it's such a struggle, I will never have money, or anything could go wrong with money. There's so much limiting beliefs that we have around money, things we think are true that are absolutely not true. But unless we examine those things, we will never know. So Karen was willing to examine her beliefs to find out if they were true or not. But she was also willing, again, stepping out of her comfort zone, trying something different. Are you guys seeing a theme here? Karen's willing to do the uncomfortable things. And maybe she hasn't always felt that way, but sometimes you do something that's uncomfortable and then something else and something else. And it's easier to do it the next time. It's not that it's like, I don't know, easy is a weird word, but it's like you get in the habit of doing the uncomfortable things. You get in the habit of facing challenges. You can do hard things. Just like Karen, you are a badass. Karen, she was willing to face her inner demons. So often it's easier to like put our head in the sand, or it feels too hard to look at I was going to say the bad parts of ourselves. You really don't have a bad part of yourself, but we so often label that within us like, ooh, this part's bad. I want to cut out this. I don't want to be this. But it's not a bad part. It's just part of you. But to look at the things you struggle with can be hard. And you know what? Maybe that's something where you get a therapist to help you through it, because we can't do everything alone. So you get a therapist or you get a coach or a guide Maybe you hire Karen to start connecting with different things in the universe or to work on your I almost said aspirations. You can work on your aspirations and your affirmations. But I think that we think that everybody else has it figured out and life is so easy for everybody else. It's all gumdrops and lollipops for them, but it's hard for me. Guess what? We all have hard times. And you don't see the behind the scenes. You don't see the hard work that Karen did. You don't see the struggle, right? She was gracious enough to share some of that with us. She was very vulnerable and open, which shows a lot of strength on her part because we can all learn from what Karen went through. But you're not the only one struggling. But you also don't have to figure it out on your own. That's why we have this badass community here with an Ordinary to Badass. And we also have other mentors and stuff that come on the show. So if you resonate with what one of them is saying, then follow them, right? Learn what else they have to teach. Listen to the methods that they talk about and try to implement them in your own life. What do you have to lose? If you put 3 months of affirmations for your money habits, really, what do you have to lose? It's not going to get any worse than it is right now, right? Chances are. So why not try it? Try and do the hard things, and it builds up resilience. It builds up courage. You can do it, my friend. Even when it seems so stinking hard, even when it's challenging, even when there's so much uncertainty. Okay, to recap, 3 reasons why Karen Cleveland is so badass. 1 is because she was willing to take risks. The second reason is when she was not happy, she made a change. And then the third reason is she turned her struggles into success. Okay, with that, we'll end our show. Tell the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future Spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.